All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into this edition of Fantasy Chat, Week 5, the 2023 season. How the hell are you? My name's TJ Weber. You can find me everywhere at Weber Bets on social media. We got the great Zach Zook and Nick Yale. Two people from remote for the old Fantasy Chat this week. Gentlemen, how we doing? Zook, I'll start with you.
Hey, I'm doing all right, man. Happy to be here.
Beautiful. Mr. Nick Yale, back, where were you last weekend?
Last weekend we were down in Ole Miss. Well, last week I was in South Carolina. This past weekend I was at Ole Miss, so that's why it's the old fantasy show.
Hashtag blessed. Wow, look at this guy. I mean,
Yeah,
Zook,
just bouncing around.
I don't think you could have a dream scenario of traveling to so many places like Nick Yale's doing. By the way, I've been calling you the great Nick Yale. I don't know where that came from.
The great Nick Yale. I mean, I like it. I'm down for it.
I don't even think of you that way. No offense. It just kind of comes off the tongue. I don't know.
Finally give me some credit.
Yeah, right. That's what it is, 100%. You guys get involved from the50.com, from the50.com if you want to get involved with the conversation. The phone lines are open. You want to jump in, ask your fantasy questions. Otherwise, you can always comment here on TikTok as well. We are live on the From the 50 YouTube page, also the Weber Bets Twitch page. All of our links can be found from the50.com, from the50.com. Boys, week 5 already. I'm kind of shocked. I mean, still a lot of football left to play, obviously, but the first few weeks, I don't know what it is. I feel like we've been super busy, I guess. Obviously day-to-day life, football season, but week 5 already is insane. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, week 5, and I mean it's the first time we have buys, so that's gonna be a little bit of a challenge as I stare at my fantasy lineup in my 2-quarterback league. Geno Smith and Justin Herbert both on bye this week, so that should be a auto loss for me, even though I'm playing the worst guy in the division. So
where are you going?
It's always fun to navigate the bye weeks.
Where are you going with the waiver wire then, with old Geno and Herbie out? What are you gonna do?
I mean, well, one of these that's in my dynasty league, so I don't have any other quarterbacks. My other quarterbacks on my bench are Trey Lance and Carson Wentz, who currently isn't even on a team right now. So we'll see if we want to do some shopping here on this week before this weekend starts. But I mean, waiver wires are starting to get thin with these injuries piling up. Jonathan Taylor coming back more than likely this week too. So if you lose Zach Moss, the Zach Moss story is done for probably most fantasy owners, which is a shame, but because I am one of them. But
right.
Yeah.
So is he officially coming back, JT, Nick?
Not officially. He has a chance to come off the PUP list, but even though they said they're going up against a tough Titans D line this week too, so definitely going to be challenging for the Colts to move the ball either way, even if JT does come back against that Titans D line.
You know who else is back, shockingly? The great Jameson Williams is back with the Lions this week. Early.
Yep.
Early. Yeah. The NFL announced that Friday. I don't know how I fucking missed that. You guys might have mentioned it Sunday. You know how it is. When I'm busy, I just don't listen. But I'm shocked. I can't believe it.
Well,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, me neither. I'm a Lions fan. I didn't fucking know it. Yeah, I saw he's projected 6 points.
You guys got to
this
do
week.
your research. I mean, you sitting over here just twiddling your thumbs. I mean, what are we doing?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Jacksonville's trash, and you're just letting it out on me. You know, my team's
No,
3-1. We have a $200 bet going on, and you want to talk shit. I get it. You know,
We won in London.
You're lashing out. You're lashing out, and it's
We're
okay.
staying in
It's
Europe
okay.
this weekend. We're gonna win another one.
You beat the Falcons. We beat the. It doesn't matter. It's the Falcons, Nick. Come on. I mean, what are we doing here? Did you watch the Toy Story stream? Did you watch the Toy Story stream?
I did. What do you guys think of it?
It was actually kind of cool, and then I was over it in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, same. It was like a novelty.
Yeah, it was cool to see. Would I like to see it again? Sure, but it was just kind of okay, I understand the collab, I get it, but it was, how the fuck did they do that? I mean, we'll get into the fantasy questions in a second, but how do they make that happen? Do they have something like every player's helmet that I don't know how that works, Nick. Do you know?
Yeah, they got them attached to the hooked up to the, I forget what it's called, but if you saw the announcers, they were wearing all the robotic parts. I don't know exactly what they're called or the terminology, TJ, but I do know that during the broadcast it fucked up quite a bit, and so that was a tough watch. So I had to flip over to the main broadcast.
Yeah, I wanted to check it out, and I'm glad I did, but it was fun for a while, and then it was not very quickly. But it's a good idea. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to expand the game of football. Obviously, the Taylor Swift shit, as you can tell, they're trying to get a bigger audience. All the Swifties, Travis Kelce's jersey sales blowing up. By the way, the broadcast, I think, when she was coming in Sunday Night Football, barely mentioned the fact that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were like right behind her.
Yeah, and Hugh Jackman.
And Hugh Jackman, and Sophie Turner, I think her name is. I'm just like, how the fuck they like? Oh yeah, I was watching my buddy Shields, and he goes, "Is that Blake Lively?" I go, "No, that's not Blake Lively, but it looks like Blake Lively." And he's like, "That's Blake Lively." It's like, okay, so good for the NFL. I mean, it's kind of I'm kind of over it at this point, but they're trying to use every bit of T Swift popularity as they can right now.
You're gonna keep hearing it for sure throughout the next 6 to 8 weeks at least minimum.
Yeah.
But what if they break up?
I mean, everybody wins. Kelsey will be pissed. They'll go win a Super Bowl. She'll sell a new album. Like, everybody wins. And the NFL already got all the popularity. Like, it doesn't matter.
That's what everyone's setting it up for, just her new album.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting story, that's for sure. You can send in your fantasy questions here. Gage says, is Nico Collins a start this week? Well, Gage, I think we say yes, because Zook, as you and I know, Sunday we told everybody to start Tank Dell, and Nico Collins went off.
Yeah, he sure did. I will say, so I did the Pro Football Focus. I did all routes for that game, and I know Tank Dell had a bad week. He was heavily involved. Like, he was out on the field. He was, felt like he was involved, or like the first, second read a lot of times in the play. So I think better days are ahead for Tank Dell. But yeah, that was rough. Nico Collins catching everything, and Tank Dell couldn't get free, couldn't get much for us.
Yeah, it was interesting. Nico Collins, I've been sitting there waiting for a Houston receiver to go off, and I feel like they're going to play those games where Tank Dell is going off one week, Nico Collins is going off the other week. That's usually how this shit works. But we picked the wrong one. I think we did good, though. Nick, I don't know if you probably didn't listen to the show because you're a dick, but Sunday, Zook said that he had a dream that Derrick Henry was going to go off on Sunday, and he kind of fucking did. And Zook, we just lost Zook, but I mean, I think we have to, whatever Zook dreams about on Sundays, we're going to have to follow.
We got to ride it? Okay. Yeah, didn't he have a passing touchdown?
He did. He had a passing touchdown, rushing touchdown, 120 on the ground. Not bad.
I was driving 8 hours back from Oxford, but we were listening to the games. We had Red Zone on the car on the way back, so I did catch a little bit of the games going on, but I would definitely be down to ride whatever Zook dreams about. I think that's a good philosophy, because it's probably going to be better than what I do picking games.
Right.
Right now, it's not great.
It could be good for content. As well.
Could be.
Call in from the50.com. Let's see what we got here. I traded Stroud. I have Deshaun, Swift, and Judy for Etienne and Olave. What do you think? That's Stroud, Swift, and Judy for Etienne and Olave. Olave's been a little quiet, no?
Stroud, Swift, and Judy.
Correct.
I mean, I like Stroud and Swift over Etienne and Deshaun.
Mm-hmm.
I like Olave better than Judy, but they're kind of equivalent, I feel like. I mean, Judy hasn't got a ton of action. I wouldn't do the trade. I would keep Stroud, and I would keep Swift.
Yeah.
Because Swift has been one of the best runners in the NFL right now for running backs who are hard to come by. And he's going to get volume. Whereas, like, Etienne, again, I don't know if Etienne's going to be your guy every single game. That's going to be super dependable, right?
Yep.
They like to throw the ball quite a bit. And even in the end zone, even in the red zone, they got Tank Bigsby for some goal line sets. So I would probably stick with Stroud as your starting quarterback and keep Judy and keep Swift.
Yeah, Swift has been, I mean, he's proven he needs to be an every down back for them, and Philly's finally starting to treat him that way. I mean, they've been terrible with running back value for a long time. I mean, Miles Sanders was pretty good last year, but you know how it is. It's Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott, and then obviously Jalen runs a lot. So the fact that they're giving Swift the majority of the carries is legit. I figured he would be a great fantasy running back, but I did not think he'd be this good. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think, again, like you said, he's going to be the guy there in Philly, and he's going to be a top 5 running back right now in the league. Granted, he's not going to do that every week because they are going to spread the ball around, but, I mean, for now, he's a must-start.
I will say, Nick, you want to know my number one guy you need to go trade for right now? I honestly think it needs to be Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow should be your number one target if you need a quarterback. I think there's going to be a lot of people selling. I've tried to trade for him today.
Yeah,
I know
good.
I have some competition, unfortunately, and people are trying to block him and give give him more for Burrow, but I think he's one of your number one targets if you don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's a good move right now. I think, there's a lot of football left here with still 12 weeks, 13 weeks left in the season.
Because he's got to be better, right? I mean, he can't be this bad this long.
Well, and now is the time to start making trades too. I mean, we're into week 5 now, so we kind of have a good sample size of what we've seen from a lot of these guys, and you're starting to get into, like I mentioned earlier, the bye weeks. And so if you can trade one of your guys after a bye week, or get a guy after a bye week, whatever that looks like, or even take a guy during a bye week because their value is going to be a little bit lower this week if you need to make that trade. I think that's something you can do and stash them on the bench, and then go into the next few weeks in a little bit more of a competitive mindset, knowing that these guys' bye weeks are already out of the way. Because that's always the trouble, is navigating these bye weeks against competition. That's, when you don't have your starting quarterback, do you play the waiver wire, which usually gets pretty thin by week 5, 6, 7, or do you try to make a trade early and make a move before things are kind of more solidified in the league down the line?
Yeah. Zook, you agree with it? As we got Zook back, we were just talking about your dreams, on how the picks from your dreams just absolutely just smack.
I'm going to ride the picks.
Yeah, I think I've been able to hear you guys the whole time, but I think I got fucking internet problems out the ass cheeks right now, even though I'm hardwired into the fucking thing.
You gotta love it.
Losing my mind over here. But you know what? If I give a Joe Burrow take real quick.
Sure.
As somebody that's got him in Dynasty, Nick, I don't know, man. I don't know if I do feel like he's a buy low candidate. I don't think he's healthy, one. I don't think that's going to get any better for him in the near future. They're also, teetering a very, thin line of, their season's close to fucking done.
Yeah.
If they don't, rip off a couple games in a row real fast, I mean, it's already, a sunk cost. I mean, they're 1-3, right? Just got housed by the Tennessee Titans, who are not exactly one of the AFC's powerhouses. I think they're fine. They're very well coached, and they've got some talent. But, I mean, geez, I don't know. I would, I have Herbert in my redraft league, so that one's a little bit easier to pick guys up. And if he doesn't get claimed, I'm thinking Stroud might be the way to go.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
I still think, if you're asking me if I'd rather take a shot at Burrow or have Stroud the rest of the season, Burrow's got to be better. He's got to be better. I still think he has an injury. I don't know if that's the only reason. I mean, he's still throwing the ball, but something's off. This just doesn't make sense. I don't know if it's locker room chemistry, which has never seemed to be a problem for them. I don't know if it's play calling. I don't know what it is, but I feel like they're going to figure it out at some point. They have had a couple slow starts in the last few years, and this is the slowest they've had. But at some point, I think Burrow will turn it around. CJ Stroud's playing great, and he's putting up decent fantasy numbers, but at some point, it's going to tail off, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I guess the thing is, what are you giving up for Burrow, right? CJ Stroud, to me at least, is free.
True.
As long as I get him off the wire. And so, what am I giving up realistically to get Joe Burrow? And, I just keep seeing, he's got the lowest average depth of target in the NFL right now through 4 weeks. It's under 5 yards. They're not even trying to push the ball down the field because I don't think they can protect it, one. Number two, they can't risk him getting crushed. So the ball's coming out so fast. In that Rams game, the one that they won, actually, they out-schemed the Rams, and the Rams sort of want to keep everything in front of them anyway. So they sort of gave that to Cincinnati, which played into their hands. But I think Tennessee did not. Tennessee came after him and caused them just a ton of issues. I just think they're so limited right now. And I wonder if it's because of his calf. I mean, I don't know if that's the full story. Because when you look at him, it feels like he can throw the ball okay, you know? And he didn't even have the calf injury, right? For the first couple weeks. They still looked horrible.
Yeah.
So I don't totally know what's going on. I wonder if there's going to be more breaking stuff on that as it continues.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nick. Definitely going to be interesting to see with that injury, because you make a good point. If he's not healthy, certainly there goes the Cincinnati Bengals season. And you've already seen Jamar Chase bitching in the locker room about how open he is and not getting the ball enough. So, I mean, just like you're seeing with some of these other teams, with some of the turmoil that's going on in the locker rooms right now in around the league, it's definitely something to monitor for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you're middle tier, 2-2, for sure, 1-3. If you're 0-4, I would think about trading Burrow. But if you're still trying to make a push, you think you got a good team, you're a quarterback away, Burrow is a big-time buy. I still think he's going to, for sure, come back. And there might be a lot of people on the panic button with him. I've heard some people trying to even put him on the waiver wire, which is someone's got to trade for him. I don't care if you get that's insane.
You're not putting him on the waiver wire.
No, you can't do that. So I think that give him a shot. I've been wrong on a couple. Like, I'll be honest with you boys, I'm hitting the panic button a little bit on my guy Jahmyr Gibbs. Listen, it's week 5. I said last week to be patient, but David Montgomery gets every fucking carry inside the 5, and nothing's going to change as long as he keeps scoring touchdowns, which, as a Lions fan, I get it, and I'm pumped, and I know Dan Campbell doesn't give a shit about fantasy football, but I'm a little worried. I mean, I traded Cooper Kupp to get him because I wasn't sure how Kupp was going to come back. We still don't know, but I think that one might bite me in the ass. I hope Gibbs gets some more looks, but they love Montgomery, and that's pretty obvious, so that scares me a little.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he's still going to be serviceable there throughout the rest of the year. But it looks like, again, it's a situation how DeAndre Swift was last year, where the Lions kind of pick and choose who they want to use as their running back. They never commit to one guy, and it's really whoever the hot hand is. And I feel like they're probably going to be more conservative with Gibbs because he is a rookie, and they want to conserve his health and things like that.
For what? For what, though? Like, you're going to be a Super Bowl contending team. Maybe fucking play the guy. He's electric. Like, what are we talking about?
Because you have Montgomery already, and he's a hot hand.
I don't give a fuck. What do they say? Running backs last like 3 years in this league. Like, use them. Like, I don't get, like, I'm pissed at a team that's 3-1. Like, I'm not mad.
I know. I'm just saying.
It's just like,
not,
come on.
Like, that's just how the Lions have utilized their running backs. It's the same thing for DeAndre Swift fantasy owners last year that saw him, get ball hawked at the end zone every time.
He's not the same fucking player. Like, give him a shot.
It's
like,
not the same player.
It's
but
so funny to see Twitter go off because they go, oh, I can't believe Campbell says, oh, we're going to use him different this week. They have him doing a double reverse and throwing it to Khalif Raymond. Like, no shots at Khalif. He's a good player, but why isn't he on the reverse? Why is Khalif Raymond getting? Come on, man! Like, just give him a shot.
Your team's winning ball game, so you shouldn't be bitching. That's
I'm bitching about it as a fantasy owner. I said that. I said, don't get me wrong. I'm not bitching about Lions touchdowns, but come on, man! Just give the guy a couple more passes. Like, David Montgomery, like, dude, he's scoring touchdowns, but like, let Gibbs take it down the field. My God, Craig Reynolds is getting more carries than I expected. Our third string running back. What are we talking about, Nick?
I don't know. I'm not in that coaching staff. I'm not in that locker room. So.
Life is good when I'm bitching and we're 3-1. Like, I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're top of the division. Quit your bitching.
Well, what I told my wife when we were watching the game, she's like, "Why are you complaining? The Lions are winning." I go, "I want it all. I want a Super Bowl championship. I want a fantasy championship. I want it all."
You've been getting a little greedy because you've been in shambles for so long, and now your team is kind of good, and now you want it.
Kind of good. How's your team doing, by the way?
You're fine, 2-2, right where we need to be.
Yeah, you're about to owe me some money. Yeah. The old Packers.
No, we're good. You're one game up. Relax.
That's plenty.
Long season.
Still in the lead. Gotta love it. Wyatt says, we'll start answering some questions. Najee, Miles Sanders, or Drake London at flex this week? That's from Wyatt.
Miles Sanders. Probably Miles Sanders is my answer because, and again, we said preseason that I didn't like Miles Sanders a whole lot, but he's getting volume and he's going to get you your carries. Najee hasn't done shit to pertain flex value even in any league, and I have to start him this week. I'm actually probably going to start Najee and Jaylen Warren because Kenneth Walker's on bye for me, and I had Nick Chubb go down, so I'm in a little bit of a bind at running back. But Drake London, same thing. Like, if he doesn't get that touchdown this past week, he was worthless otherwise because Desmond Ridder is probably the 32nd best quarterback in the league. He might even be behind Drew Lock, who got some action last night.
He looked pretty good. I knew that was coming at some point.
And Desmond Ridder, he's just absolutely awful, and it sucks for Drake London owners and Kyle Pitts owners because they are out there just wondering when are these guys going to get any time, any action, any throws coming their way.
It was a simple fantasy question. We don't have to hear a whole book on the Falcons, Nick. But,
I'm just saying. So if you're going from that standpoint, I'm giving analysis as to why you should start Miles Sanders because the other two suck.
He's well versed on the Falcons. He just watched them play the Jags.
I did. I watched the full game. Toy Story mode.
He knows the whole damn. He knows the whole damn team. Yeah.
What's the worst quarterback in the NFL? Fields, Ridder, or
Mac Jones,
Wilson.
Mac
you
Jones.
think Jones is worse than those guys?
Well, yeah, the worst week of
Ridder is the worst. It's not close.
Okay. I agree.
I agree. Ridder's the worst. Zach Wilson, baller. Seen that. Like, look at that. I had a parlay, Nick. I went all Zach Wilson props just to see if he could do something. Like, if they would have got their asses beat, I know it's the Chiefs, but if they've got their asses beat by 30 and he throws 3 picks, I think he's off the team. I think his NFL career is basically over. That was a big hot take by me, but he needed to bounce back, and
that's a hot take.
He looked pretty good, old Zach Wilson.
He looked all right. He had a decent game that they probably had a chance of winning at some point, but
I don't know.
Ultimately, the Taylor Swift effect ruined that.
I think Aaron Rodgers has some crazy shit where he just like his spirit at the game went into Zach Wilson's body. I mean, he threw some back shoulder stuff, and Chris Collinsworth like, "Wow, did you see that one?" And just it was insane. It was pretty crazy.
See if he can keep it up.
Well, I'm just saying he won me a bet. I don't care if he keeps it up. Jamar Chase, Jerome Ford, Nico Collins for Devontae Smith and Garrett Wilson. What are your thoughts? That's from Zach.
One more time.
Jamar Chase, Jerome Ford, and Nico Collins for Devontae Smith and Garrett Wilson.
I would not make that trade, no.
Yeah, neither would I.
Yeah, Jamar's that's a little much to give. I still think Jamar's that's a panic mode button on Jamar. That's panic
mode. That's selling low on Jamar. Plus, Jerome Ford and Nico Collins, I would argue, are better both individually than if you're just trading those two for Garrett Wilson and Devontae Smith. Even though the value might not be there because there's more name brand recognition in those other 2 wide receivers that you'd be receiving. But like AJ Brown's a guy in Philly, and Garrett Wilson has Zach Wilson as his quarterback, so no.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Someone's saying they have Puka, Nacua, and Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is back this week. What do you do, Nick? Do you keep them both? You got to keep them both for a little bit, right?
No, I want to know Zook's thoughts because we kind of talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago. What are your thoughts? What would you do here, Zook?
Honestly, ideally, I would have dealt one of the 2 of them by now.
Yeah.
Because and just taken the gamble. Now, what I do if I was you have a couple options because there's one of 3 ways this is going to play out. Either Cooper or Nacua is going to get hurt, and then it solves your problem for you. They are going to reintegrate Kupp back into the offense, but it's going to hurt both of their value because now that Nacua has emerged, they're not going to target Cooper Kupp 18 fucking times a game anymore.
Right.
And because Cooper Kupp's back, they're not going to target Nacua 18 times a game. Or option 3, and honestly, I think this would be insane, but Sean McVay, like these coaches, sometimes I feel like they just do it. They latch on to one back or one receiver. That's like how they know how to game plan. I could see Kupp sliding back into Nakua's spot. Nacua becomes like the number 3 receiver, and they just keep rolling with Cooper Kupp the way that they were before. And if Kupp gets hurt, they'll just slide Nacua back in there. Like,
yeah,
I don't totally have the best read on it. I kind of think that both will be a factor in the offense, and because of that, like Nacua has played way too well for them to just not target him.
Oh, they have to.
Any less, he's got to be getting 7-8 targets a game still. So like because of that. That certainly eats into the volume of Cooper Kupp, which is what I think makes him so special. And with this offense, Nick, you tell me your opinion. I don't think they're as high flying as they once were, and I don't think that this current Matthew Stafford offense can support like 3 fantasy wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately what's probably going to happen is why I would probably sit and see what they do for a week and then make the decision, but. Because I feel like they're going to slowly work Cooper Kupp back into Nakua's spot, and Nacua is going to eventually trickle down. So he's only going to lose value as we go along if Cooper Kupp is fully healthy, and Cooper Kupp is eventually just going to be that guy. Because regardless of Nacua and how he plays, like it's still Cooper Kupp. He's still the 2nd, 3rd best wide receiver. Maybe makes an argument at times for the best wide receiver in the NFL. And so that guy is dependable. That guy is that chemistry with Matthew Stafford in big game situations and late game situations against tough teams. So right. I feel like you get ready to trade Nacua either right now or wait a week to see like is Cooper Kupp fully healthy? Because to me, when Cooper Kupp's fully healthy, he immediately slots back in as the guy.
Now let me ask you this: what if Cooper Kupp comes back and Nacua outworks him and gets more points? Do you think about trading Kupp early?
That's why I would say you would have traded him before.
You're saying you would have done it already, is what you're saying.
Because I feel like both of their values were at their highest.
Yeah,
probably earlier on in the year. Because I would be pretty shocked if like Kupp comes back and is like fantasy top 3 again, with Nakua now in the offense and the emergence of Tutu Atwell, something we haven't even really talked about. But like, I don't think that guy's just gonna disappear.
Yeah,
he's a different type of receiver, but like they're still gonna run stuff to him too. So like, yeah, ideally, I think like you would have traded him early, but like can't change the past. The one thing you could say for holding on to both of them too is like Sean McVay, the way he's using Nakua like he used Cup, like we call Cup injury prone or whatever, but like he kind of uses them like running backs.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really sustainable to catch 14, 15 passes a game and get hit that often.
Right.
Like that's why Cup is injured so often. And like we even saw it through the first 4 weeks. Nakua has been injured and banged up and on the injury report too. So like I don't hate holding on to both of them from the fact that like if they do this kind of one or the other thing, like I'd say the possibility that one or the other misses time is likely.
Yeah, and I also think, like, someone's even asking, who would you go after if you trade Puka Nacua? Like, his value could not be higher, but people, it depends what happens, because people don't exactly know if he's a year-long type of guy. Like, I mean, at the moment, I mean, he's putting up bigger numbers. What was it, the most receptions or whatever in the first 4 games of an NFL career for a receiver, which is insane.
NFL record.
And the fact that Sam Laporta did the same thing as a tight end this year, like, that's just crazy. But anyway, it's like, I understand trying to sell high, but like, I still don't think a lot of people are willing to give up a high-profile player that's been consistent for 5 years compared to Puka Nacua. It's the name brand thing too. It is.
I mean, it's also who you're buying and getting back in return too. Like it's. I think for Nacua, if you're trading Nacua away, like, are you able to go out and get a high leverage wide receiver to where it makes it worth it? Like, do you have somebody else you can package him with to go get said wide receiver? And like, or are you going to trade for a running back that's already thin in that market? Like, it's kind of tough, right? Like, you're probably not going to be able to go out and get like CeeDee Lamb or Devontae Adams or, even Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. Like, so it's like, are you going to trade for a guy that's like equivalent value? Like, I'm not going to go for like Nico Collins if I have Nacua. Like, you're better off just sitting and seeing what probably happens, unless you need to go after a different position of need, like running back, tight end, or package for a quarterback.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. You guys can call in your thoughts from the50.com, from the50.com. It's pretty easy. All you got to do is go to the website. We got all of our links there for our socials. Our full shows are live on YouTube. Again, we go live Tuesdays for Fantasy Chat, Wednesdays for Weber Wednesdays with Big Web and myself. Sundays, a live football show from 10:30 a.m. CT all the way up until kickoff. You can check out all of our shorts as well on there. We're really trying to get the the YouTube stuff going, but you have our TikTok. You can find us on TikTok as well. You can find us on Instagram. That's our main platforms. And then, of course, you can call in by hitting the call button. You'll go right into the meeting with Nick, Zook, and myself. And make sure also that you use promo code WeberBets if you're going to a football game this coming Sunday for Week 5. Go ahead and not get $20 off by using promo code WeberBets. That's WEBERBETS on SeatGeek at SeatGeek.com. First purchase, $20 off with promo code WeberBets. All right, let's get to some more questions. Should I trade T-Law and Rachaad White for Fields and it's Achane?
I heard it was Achane.
Yeah,
I think it's Achane.
Achane, yeah, he doesn't want to be called Achane.
Achane. Even
I was calling him Achane.
It's spelled like Achane. So
yeah, but it's Achane.
Yes, I would do that though. I would get rid of Rachaad White and trade T-Law, because I think, again, people are valuing Justin Fields a little too low right now. I mean, he had a couple tough weeks, but now we saw this past week that, when they kind of took the chains off and let him do his own thing, he is a very good quarterback still. And I think he's going to be a very good quarterback for his career. And so right now, I mean, you're getting a fine
young man,
or Justin Fields is good, but I think Achane is definitely the better running back.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's true. Achane's also going off right now. I thought he'd be kind of a one-hit wonder.
Dude, I don't think he's going away. It's not going to be the way it's been. Like, he's going to have a bad game here coming up. But like, if you think of the value of him overall, like, what is he even when Mostert plays? Like an RB2, would you say?
Yeah, probably.
Like,
right now, yeah, for sure.
Well, right now he's been like an RB1, but like, let's say some things like kind of stabilize and he has maybe some tough weeks, or maybe he doesn't rush for 100 yards on 8 carries like he did this past weekend. Maybe he rushes for 30 yards on 8 carries, and finishes with 8 fantasy points instead of 30. like I feel like even with Mostert in though, he's not killing you even on his bad weeks. And if you think about like Mostert's 31 years old, long injury history, like dude, I would try to acquire Achan. I think he's gonna finish as a top 20 running back easy. Might finish as a top 10.
Yeah, it's not a bad play, and he's obviously been very productive the last 2 weeks. So, and I don't think that's going to drop off like you're saying. And the fact that Mostert's in his in his 30s as a running back, I mean that helps him for the future too. And Nick is he a guy that he's a rookie. I don't know where he got drafted. Did he get picked up at all in the draft for franchise leagues or?
Oh yeah. I took him. I took him in the 4th round of my league. I had I forget who I had, or no, I took him in the 2nd round. I
was gonna say he didn't make it to the 4th in mine.
Yeah, no, he went in the 2nd round because I traded away I don't know what. Oh, I think in my TJ Hawkinson trade, I got a 2nd round pick back, and I drafted Roshan Johnson and Achan back to back in like the early 4th round or early 2nd round.
Yeah, no, that's legit. I was wondering where was he drafted at this year? Like, was he like?
I think he was like a 3rd rounder, 2nd or 3rd rounder out of Texas A&M. I really liked him. I thought he was fast. And like I thought he could do some interesting things on like passing downs.
Yeah.
Never did I dream though that he was going to be this effective as like a between the tackles, like wide zone runner, you know, like McDaniel, man, credit his scheme because
3rd round.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
it's impressive.
He's fun, man. He's a fun coach, and he's throwing things out there that people haven't seen before, or he's just being creative, and you can tell he's just a big goofball. He's just having fun, and he's like, dude, we're gonna go out there and play football, and everybody, like, coaches in professional ranks, especially in football, like, so serious, like, Nick Saban at Alabama, so serious all the fucking time. It's like McDaniel's like out there just like being a guy, and like you can see how it works, and I'm sure sometimes it doesn't, but dude's like having fun. Obviously the players like him, and they got a hell of a team. I mean, it's the Dolphins are fun, but I will say they're not indestructible. Like the Bills like beat their ass. I mean, put 48 on them. I didn't expect that to happen, and they held them down pretty good. So Are they Super Bowl contenders? People could say yes, but like I still wouldn't put them up there with the Chiefs. I still wouldn't put them up there with the Bills. I think the Niners are the best team in the NFL right now. So, and I don't know I guess Philly and them would be pretty even, but what do you think? I mean, that's kind of where I'm at on it.
Yeah, again, it's still a little bit early to tell like who the real contenders are versus the pretenders. I think that's something we can kind of need a couple more weeks before we can really tell who's going to come out as like the team in the especially in the AFC, where I think it's a little bit more competitive. Dallas and San Francisco both have kind of emerged as the front runners in the NFC, but it'll be fun to watch and see how these guys continue to impact the teams.
Yeah, 100%. By the way, I need to get I should have thought about the studio before I moved it underneath this massive vent I have right above me. I don't know if it's like you guys hear it too much, but it's just so annoying. Okay, good.
I don't hear anything.
It kicks on so much, and I hear it in my headphones. I'm like, fuck, is this thing just like blaring 24/7 when I'm on? So that's just, it's part of the deal. But then the next house, I'll make sure that I'm not.
The next house, yeah.
The next house. Yeah, we're looking. That's down the road. But then that'll be the new studio, which, I just put all this work into this one, so hopefully we're here for a bit. But if the right one pops up, Nick, you never know. You got to jump on it.
You never know.
True. You got to make it happen. Let's see. Philly Max says sit one. Ridley against the Patriots, I think. Waddle, Olave, or DJ Moore. Who do you sit out of those 4?
Whew.
Probably Olave, honestly.
That's probably what I'd do too.
Yeah, he's been kind of a letdown, right? A little bit.
Like
he was fine first couple weeks, but I think he had 1 catch this past Sunday.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, did you see Alvin Kamara had 13 receptions?
Did he really? Wow.
For 30 yards.
Yeah, they're
for
just
30 yards.
dumping it off. I mean, they weren't really going deep at all in that game, and I think that's something too. Like Calvin Ridley, like he had a bad week a couple weeks ago, but then he caught the touchdown this past week, so he's good. Waddle's back healthy now, so it's like, and then DJ Moore, if Justin Fields starts to play like Justin Fields, then he becomes a little bit more interesting to watch. Olave's kind of getting pushed to the side because Michael Thomas is back now, and also Rashid Shaheed has kind of stepped in as a go-to guy a little bit down there in New Orleans. So
I just don't think their downfield passing attack's very good.
Yeah, they don't.
I think the other three guys, like Nick mentioned, like they have higher upside. Like Ridley has had a massive game. Now DJ Moore. First, if you asked me this pre-Sunday, I would have said sit DJ Moore easy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But after that game and the way that their offense kind of rebounded, I don't think you can do that.
Yeah.
So I think you just have to sit Olave for the simple fact that the Saints have not been able to push the ball down the field at all.
But, I mean, Waddle's been pretty quiet. I mean, I think at some point I'm also trying to trade for him because I think he's going to break out at some point. But I would agree. I think Olave is probably your one guy to sit just because he hasn't done much all season. But Waddle's been kind of quiet, too. He hasn't gotten in the end zone yet. Like, he's been,
He has been quiet, but, like, to that, like, he had the concussion, right? So, like, that was one of them. They sort of eased him back in this past weekend, and he didn't feel like he was didn't feel like he was targeted a whole heck of a lot. And then they got down early in that game. Obviously not their best offensive performance, but like the reason I go I'd go Waddle over Olave is because of that Dolphins offensive potential. Like we've already seen it, and we've seen Waddle in that offense have massive games. Like I don't think like Olave in the Saints offense as currently constructed even has the potential to get you like 30 fantasy.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's the only team I'm worried about right now. I got an 8-leg division winner parlay. Everything else is hitting. It pays $2,400, and the Saints are the one team I'm like,
let's go, really
worried about. I got the Jags too. I think the Jags will figure it out. But
yeah, I think they will.
The Saints are the only team I'm really worried about. So we'll see. We shall see. Let's see. Do I start Gibbs or Breece Hall this week? That's from Ryan. I'm gonna let you boys take this one first because I don't know what I'm gonna say.
I mean, let me look at the schedule. Who are the Jets playing?
That's a good. I have not looked this week. I'm bad at looking this early in the week, for some reason.
Yeah, I don't typically look. I mean, off rip, I would say Breece Hall. Although how much action did he get in this last game? I don't think he got I think he had one big run.
Yeah, it wasn't that much. Let's see.
6 for 56.
Okay.
And
he was productive.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Oh God, they're playing against Denver. That's a really good matchup. And the Lions are playing the Panthers.
What did Jahmyr Gibbs do? He had 8 for 40. So yeah, they're pretty similar.
Yeah.
You said which one was playing? Which one's playing Panthers? Which one's playing?
The Lions are playing the Panthers, and the Jets are playing the Broncos. Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I would probably go Breece Hall there. Until we fully know what Jahmyr Gibbs' deal is, if he's going to get playing time and continue to get action, it's too much of a risk. I don't know what Dan Campbell's decision is there with his running backs, but them all splitting time just is not conducive for fantasy owners. Breece Hall, you just hope that they stay in the game.
Yeah.
Because if they get down, then they're not going to run the ball.
I'm going to go ahead and say Breece Hall this week every time I've said Gibbs, he hasn't done anything. So maybe if I say another player, he'll go off this week for me. Also, nice. J-Mo back this week could also hurt his touches if they want to run reverses with him. And that offense just adds another mess.
Williams. Don't say J-Mo.
That's what they call him, J-Mo.
You're not friends with him.
I'm part of the team. You didn't know that?
On the team.
I'm part of the team.
You're not. Just call him Jameson Williams.
Okay, Jameson Williams is going to be electric this week, so that takes away touches from him too. So I don't know, man. I as a Lions fan, I'm pumped. As a fantasy owner of Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm a little worried.
That's fair.
Miles says, do I trade Walker for Pollard? I'm guessing that's Kenneth Walker for Tony Pollard?
No.
I would not.
I like Walker. I think Pollard gets his touches for sure, and he's in a good Dallas offense that has a good O-line, but Kenneth Walker to me is just more explosive, and if Tony Pollard used to be an RB2, he only is an RB1 because Zeke Elliott's gone now. Kenneth Walker is an RB1.
I mean, Pollard, to his credit, has played like an RB1 as a backup running back for a while. They didn't want to get rid of Zeke because it's Zeke, and he was part of the Cowboys organization for so long. So,
but how I think they design an offense in Dallas, they're not designing it for Tony Pollard. He's a complementary back to where in the Seattle offense, I feel like they're designing more plays for Kenneth Walker.
That's fair. While we're talking about Kenneth Walker, we'll go to this question. Raider Rips. Trade offered to me, Walker and Debo for Jamar Chase. Take or pass? You do that?
I'd take it. Yeah, sure.
You guys love Jamar Chase. I'm with you. I think he's going to bounce back at some point. He's also actually gotten a lot of productivity with these bad weeks. He got like 8 receptions for 80 yards. I mean, 16 points.
Is he receiving Jamar Chase? I thought you said he was.
No. He said trade offered to me, Walker, and Debo for Jamar Chase.
Oh, he's trading Chase is what he's saying.
He's trading Chase. That's how
getting rid of Chase.
I would take that.
Oh, so you want to get rid of Chase? You guys are saying
I would get rid of Chase. Yeah,
for that I would. Yeah.
Again, you're getting Kenneth Walker, who's a good.
Yeah. Nick. I don't know about you, man. I think he's RB1 for show. I think RB1 status. I mean, and I think probably like, what do you think? Like is he top 5 running back?
Yeah, man, top 5 might be a little bit of a stretch. Maybe now that there's some injuries, maybe he could be definitely top 10, and I think he's definitely RB1. And then, you get Debo Samuel, who hasn't had the best year, right? It's definitely the Brandon Ayuk show there in San Francisco.
And Christian McCaffrey, that's the thing. Their offense is completely different. I've been backing Debo since day one, but he's not that guy anymore.
I think Debo at minimum you can think about having him in your flex, and you're getting some value. I'm willing to take a flyer on Debo for the rest of the season and get Kenneth Walker and trade away Jamar Chase, because Jamar is just, I mean, like last year, he wasn't good until the second half of the season, and now you're like, Joe Burrow's hurt. He's pissed off. Like, that's probably not very good for him. Like, too many questions.
I don't know. T. Higgins keeps getting hurt. I think Jamar Chase. I think you're gonna really regret trading Jamar Chase. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. But I get it. It is intriguing. I will give you that. But I would say no. Zook and Nick say yes. Let's see. Aiden says, do I trade Higgins, Brees, and Brian Robinson for A.J. Brown? I also have Barkley, Mixon, and Moss. So Moss isn't going to be a factor after this week, most likely. Higgins, Brees, and Brian Robinson for A.J. Brown. You're giving up a lot of value in Higgins. As I mentioned, Higgins can get hurt. He is always hurt all the time, but I still think he's going to have a bounce back. I get what you're doing, but
Saquon, they have Saquon on that team?
They have Saquon and Mixon is what he said.
Yeah, I think I would probably do that too. Get A.J. Brown. You're trading away. It is a little bit hefty, but I think you're getting an upgrade at wide receiver, and then you're getting rid of Brian Robinson, who, again, in a Commanders offense, like, I don't know. I don't love him as like even an RB2. I think he's more of a flex guy, so I think you're throwing him in there, and then you throw in Brees, who, again, there's a little bit of question marks around. Like, you might get stained, and Brees might be a better guy, but again, if you have Saquon and Mixon, like, somebody there's on the bench, so.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, I'm with you, Nick. I think I'd maybe take that too. It is tough to do like a 3-for-1 like that.
A lot.
But I think you're getting the best player by a long shot. And man, I tell you what, I love Brian Robinson, the football player. That guy is badass.
Yeah.
But as like a fantasy guy, yeah, man, like I feel like there's kind of a cap on that offense, especially like the rushing attack. So yeah, I don't know. I think he's totally at least claimed the role like that. We thought that was going to be a pretty even committee between him and Antonio Gibson. I remember I hate when the fantasy experts do this, like going into the drafts. Sutton and Judy ranked back to back. Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson ranked back to back. It's like, so you don't have a fucking opinion either. Like, isn't that your job to help us decide who to pick?
Yeah.
But Brian Robinson has clearly been the better player. I just think there's a cap on sort of what he can do, and you're trading away 2 other guys that have been massive disappointments for A.J. Brown, who is a stud.
Yeah, I get it, and A.J. Brown's going to be consistent most of the season, so I understand it. I get it. I probably would do the same thing. It's just giving up 3 players for 1, like you said. It's just you always got to scratch your head and double check that you're doing the right thing there, Let's see. We are about 45 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go. Do you guys need to go right away? I was going to go another 10, but if you need to go.
Yeah, we can do it.
No, I can go another 10. 10, 15 is fine.
All right, let's do another 10 minutes. We'll go kind of rapid fire, just get as many questions as you can. Again, guys, you're welcome to get involved. We answer fantasy questions all Sunday as well when we do our picks, and then we make the show about the audience. So we want to hear your questions. We want to hear your takes, and we'll try to go rapid fire and get as many questions answered as we can. Miles says, do I trade away Gibbs or Montgomery? At this moment, it depends what you want. If you want high value, trade Montgomery. If you want to get rid of one of them, Gibbs, I hate to say it right now, is the guy to trade. Montgomery's the guy getting in the end zone. It's
agreed.
Plain and simple. So, Andre says, do I trade away Pittman for Waddle or Chase for Puka? Pittman for Waddle, I mean, all day, right?
Pittman for Waddle for sure.
Do not trade Chase for Puka. Or
No, don't do that because we don't know what's going to happen with the Rams wide receivers.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, that's true. That's saying a lot, though. You guys are both not trashing Jamar, but saying, like, he's not that guy anymore. So
no,
I mean,
but again, still hang on to him. It depends on the trade.
Yeah. Edwin says, thoughts on this trade: Stroud and Puka for Aaron Jones, Zay Flowers, and Buffalo defense.
Stroud and Puka
for Aaron Jones, Zay Flowers, and Buffalo D.
If you have another good quarterback, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Stroud...
Zay Flowers, I don't really know. Like, is he like a guy you're really starting week in and week out right now?
Probably
Buffalo,
not.
He has been in our league.
Buffalo D is a
consistent.
number 2 defense.
Yeah, I think
Aaron Jones is good flex.
If I had to guess, if this guy trades the way I do, Stroud is not his number 1 QB. So he doesn't need a QB. He's trading him away on his bench because he's doing decently well. Puka is his big star on the trade.
Puka at value, but you're getting, like, again, none of those guys really jump off the paper at you with the Bills D. Aaron Jones is just, I feel like Aaron Jones is just dependable. You know?
Yeah, he's dependable, but he's been inconsistent. I mean, Zook knows that as a Packers fan. He's just, as a fantasy player,
it's all about his health, dude. Like, and then last year it would be like Rodgers would be like, all right, we're going 5 wide and playing West Coast, and we're not running the fucking ball for another half. Right. So, but like now, I don't think they're gonna do that. I think like the issue like last week was, again, they get their ass whooped in the first half. Mm-hmm. And then it's like Jones coming off the hammy. It's like, oh man, like do we give him even any carries in this game?
Right.
We really just need to get out of here alive. Like, you know, I think though, like when he gets his normal workload, that's the issue. Like he gets 10 plus touches, man. He's gonna rip off some gains. Like I think he's the best player in that trade for sure.
Yeah.
I also do never hate selling high on defenses. You can find them to stream. They're pretty random usually, you know, like week in to week out. Like if somebody wants like your defense, fucking give it up. Like for a running back, like there's positional value there too.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. It's tough, and I do like him trading Puka Nacua high, but he could also get burned on that big time if Nacua is the real deal. And I think Kupp will eventually, take his spot once again. But I think that also hurts people that have been holding on to Cooper Kupp. They're probably like, shit, man, I wish the Rams kind of sucked right now because now they're going to split targets probably. I mean, I don't know how you couldn't. You know what I mean? So, all right. Well, I just lost connection to Streamlabs, so